Please welcome Sifteo.
What if interacting with digital media was like jamming your hands into a pile of Legos? That would be amazing. And here's why. This is how we play. We play with stuff. Tactile physical play is part of who we are as people. And some of our earliest games were physical ones like dominoes and mancala. It's also part of how we learn. Montessori and other hands-on learning methods tap into this part of our psychology. Our minds and bodies are evolved for this kind of activity. Now, fast forward to video games. Video games are awesome. They blur reality. They're so engaging and so motivating. So wouldn't it be great to bring these two play traditions together into one single experience? What if that line between Legos and video games got blurred? Well, it just did. These are Sifteo cubes, a new hands-on platform for tactile video games. Sifteo cubes are little interactive tiles that display color graphics on top. They communicate wirelessly with each other. They can sense when they get put next to each other, and they can sense motion with built-in accelerometers. They're kind of like magic dominoes with an app store. So downloadable games are the content for the system. And the games run from the computer and control the cubes wirelessly. So let me show you an example of what I mean. This game is Piano's Vault. It's a number puzzle game, kind of like an interactive version of Sudoku. The goal of this game is you're trying to find a target number using ingredient numbers. You get 3 ingredient numbers.
Can one of our kids help you with this?
Yeah, someone want to come up and try this? We're trying to get the number 43. Okay, we're trying to get 43. And the way you do it is you put the cubes next to each other to combine the numbers with the operator. So you see this 2 and this 5? If you push those together, you'll get 2 plus 5, because there's a plus right there. So give that a try. Okay, we made 7. And now we've got other operators, and we're trying to get to the number 43. So this is now a group that equates to 7. So you can use that and the number 9 together. And this is I didn't pre-can this demo, so it's totally random. Could be hard. You might have to help us out. Okay, so just give something a try. Like, what if you push that one together with that one? 63. Okay. What's that? Oh, we could try that. So let's take the 2 off. See if you can get the 2 on top of the 5. Up like that. We got 2 minus 5, so I got -3. And then just try playing around with it. The great thing about this interface is that you can just try things. You can put things together and see what happens. What if you put the 9 on top? You get 9 times that. -27. All right, we're getting closer. So another thing you can do.
9 times 5.
5 times 9. And then what do we need to do? Okay, so we got plus. How do we get? There's the minus. Put it over here. Excellent. You got it. Good job. Big hand to Alexis. Thank you for helping me. I don't think I could have got that without you.
Make sure you pick from the toy bag.
Let me show you one other game real quick. This is Chroma Shuffle. It is a spatial arcade puzzler. It's a little bit like Bejeweled meets a Rubik's Cube. And this is basically a spatial reasoning game where you're trying to clear out all the dots. And you clear dots by matching the colors that are the same. So these blues.
Let's have another kid try this.
You want to try this one?
Who wants to try
this
it?
one?
Go ahead. Who hasn't gone?
Who's good at
Whoever hasn't
Bejeweled?
gone, go ahead, run up. Whoever goes first. All right.
All right, come on up.
Good job.
So you're trying to clear out all the colored dots. Match the same color by pushing cubes together. Okay. So turn this one so that those yellows are going to meet those yellows. Yep. And then the cool thing you can do once you clear out some space, if you tilt this one, you'll start shifting those dots around. So tilt it up a little bit. Like this. There you go. So you can tilt them around the way you want them to get them lined up in the right way. You gotta line them up the whole edge to the whole edge. Yes, there you go. Okay. So if you tilt those yellows, they'll get them near the edge, and then line them up with some other yellow dots. Ah, you're close. There you go. Cool, you cleared this one out all the way. So flip it all the way upside down. You get new dots. I could play this game for hours. Do you mind? We can. Cool. All right. That's good. Thanks, Martin.
Hey, before you leave,
Thanks
Martin,
for helping me with that.
Martin, what did you think of that? Did you like playing that game?
Yes,
Would you like to keep playing that game?
maybe.
Maybe.
Ah.
All right, interesting.
There's no violence in these games. All right. There's a world of other possibilities on this platform. We have about 20 games at the moment. Number puzzles, word puzzles, logic puzzles, music applications, even a creativity kit that lets people modify existing game templates with their own puzzles that they designed. So let me switch back. So the best interactive play and learning experiences don't leave physicality behind. They engage our bodies and they engage other people. That's what makes the Wii and the Kinect so powerful in video games. These kids at the Maker Faire in New York City had to share Sifteo cubes in order to play, and that was part of the experience. These guys from MIT neglected their own booth to come over and play Chroma Shuffle. So human-computer interfaces just keep getting better and better, and the most powerful way they can continue to improve is to hook into those actions and skills that people are evolved for, like playing with stuff, real stuff. So here's a takeaway lesson. Give yourself the time to imagine, and then do it. Do what you imagined. So teachers and other innovators, if you can give yourself the time to ask the big what-if questions about how your work practice could be radically different, you give yourself the opportunity to discover important changes that are worth a try. And the personal example of this is that Sifteo was born from a what-if question that imagined a possibility for how interaction could be different. What if we could play with digital media using our hands the same way we play with Legos? It wasn't even clear that that would be a good idea, that that would be fun in the beginning, but my co-founder and I were so fascinated by that question that we just got obsessed with finding out the answer. And so we hand-built generation after generation of prototype, and along the way we learned that there were all kinds of possibilities for play and learning. So that's how Sifteo began, to bring these possibilities to the world as a product. Thank you.
Awesome. Very well done. Very well done. And that was very brave of you to let the kids play with it, and they
That's
did
what
very
it's
well.
for.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, thoughts from our panel?
I have two fears with this. One is when I want to play with them, they're going to be dead because they need to be charged up.
They do.
And second is
they have rechargeable
my kids,
batteries inside in this charger dock.
and my kids mix together all their toys. All the Legos are mixed together with other stuff. So finding these things. Is
Yeah, we've definitely have heard that before. That's a valid concern. This charging
teach
dock.
your kids to organize things better, Robert.
That's one option.
Started out there.
You don't have a 2-year-old, man.
A wife who acts like one.
This is the charger. It doubles as a carrying case, so if you can convince your kids to put them back in here when they're done, then you have a shot at keeping them.
What about a little button on there that you press that makes these do an alarm and like, where's my iPhone kind of alarm?
That'd be cool. I mean, we actually experimented with putting little speakers in each cube in the beginning so that they could play the sounds and music directly. It turned out the speakers were so small they didn't sound good, so we took them out. So all the music and sound effects you heard are coming out of the computer, which is playing the game and running the audio.
So what does this cost, by the
yeah.
way? Just for everybody to understand.
So this
what
is
does a pack of 3
Yeah, this is the
cost?
standard Sifteo pack. It's $149, and it comes with 3 cubes and the charging dock, and the desktop software is a download. And some of the games in our app store are free, and some of them cost a couple dollars. We have about 20 games.
And how do you plan to distribute this, or like how do you plan to sell? Just
Well,
all
so
online
far
or through retailers?
we're going to do both. Yeah, it's online. It's on our website. It's on Amazon. It's on ThinkGeek currently.
I actually bought mine from the street of San Francisco last December. They were selling them outside the Mint, I believe. You guys are selling them?
Yeah, we did a pop-up store, which is a great. As you can see, it's the most powerful experience here is getting your hands on it. And so
I played with the Chroma game for about 20 minutes, sat there, and I was like, I have to have this for my daughter, and of course, then I just played with it.
And how does she like it? Is it something where she used it a lot? And
Yeah,
then trailed off, or?
she's 7, so we had a little more advanced games for her. Like the math games are great. And the only challenge that we have, as I mentioned backstage, is just that the cubes themselves aren't intelligent. So they need to be hooked to a computer for it to operate, and that's a real pain in the ass if you're in a car and she wants to play the games. You don't want to have your PC open in the car, making all the sound effects and controlling the logic. So once you guys solve that problem, it's perfect.
So will this connect to an iPhone or to a tablet in future versions?
it's possible. We're looking into things like that. We actually played around with the Android tablet when Android came out with the version you could plug USB things into. We tried that out, and it worked pretty well. So it's on our radar to see what we can do to mitigate.
If I bring my set over your house, do they do anything additional because you have 6 cubes?
You can, you can pair them. Yeah, you can have them on.
Yeah, if you have a set, and I've got a set of 3, we can pool them together and play a game that uses all of them.
So I'm sorry, how does it work? It's Bluetooth or?
It's a radio protocol that we wrote, but it's on very similar hardware as Bluetooth.
Okay.
So it's a 2.4 gigahertz radio. There's a little radio dongle that I plugged into my computer here. So it's like the wireless mouse from Logitech that has its own little USB radio.
Yeah, I had a bunch of the Cube World toys from Japan. I don't know if you've seen those.
I've seen those.
You stack them. Those are really, really cool.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more possible to do physical CE products as a startup these days. That's, I think, one of the trends that we're part of and we're excited by, because there's also a community around it.
Your product, though, predated the sort of Kickstarter movement.
Yes.
I guess the obvious question is this something, when you do the 2.0, which eventually sounds like the 2.0 is imminent, is that something you would do on Kickstarter and try to build that sort of marketing buzz and use Kickstarter to leverage it as a startup company?
I think there's a possibility. We're a funded company already, but I think Kickstarter can be used in a way to do a project that's maybe riskier, maybe you want people to get involved in and show that they're interested before you do it. So yeah, it's a possibility.
That's a yes, just so you know. As a journalist, I can poker player, I can tell you it's a yes. Oh, the kid, some of our kids have questions. Come on up. You have a question? Okay. But you only can take one thing from the bag. So if you're just going for the bag, it's over. This is just a question.
I know. Where can you get these, like, normally?
Yeah, where do you get them?
Where do you get them? You can get them on our website, on Amazon, on ThinkGeek. There's a really cool store coming to San Francisco called Marbles, the Brain Store. It's full of brainy puzzles and games, and we're going to be in there. They open at the end of the month.
This is something you want to play with, huh?
Yeah. My brother already had the experience.
You like it, huh?
Lucky.
Okay, cool. Alexis, what did you think? You liked it? You had a question?
My question was, how do you get from game to game?
Yeah, how do you get from one game to the next?
That is a great question. What you do, and I can show you real quick, is there is this game software that I was running to play Piano's Vault, the number game that you played, and when you click Return to My Games, it goes back to your game library, and then you can pick another one and click on that game, go in there, and hit play, and it starts.
Very cool. One more question from our audience. Go ahead.
Can you delete games if you don't want them on it?
Can you delete games? Yep.
Yeah, can you
can
delete
delete
games
if you
that
don't
suck?
want them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what is the average price per game? And who are the developers of this? Do you actually have a developer community yet, or are these all in-house?
We have a studio at Sifteo, so we're a little bit like a little Nintendo right now. We have both. We're making the platform, and we have a game studio. We have an SDK that's out there, and so far there have been some teachers, there have been some hobbyists, and some game developers playing around with it. We have a few games that are in the library, like this great music sequencer called Loop Loop that was made by another company in San Francisco.
Can you pull up the list of games again? I noticed one thing absolutely missing from that list, which is branded games. And I've heard rumors that certain companies associated with mice really love your company. So when are we going to see like a Lion King or a Disney or a Marvel type app from this? Not that I have any insights.
I can't speak to any specifics, of course.
Okay.
But keep an eye out. Later this year, you'll start to see games with characters that you know and love.
Awesome. Well, I think that's going to take it to another level. Any more thoughts from our panel? What are the investors, Christine, what do you think when you see hardware? Is that like as a VC, you just run and you're like, oh my God, too large a degree of difficulty? And how has Kickstarter impacted how you think about hardware as an investor?
I mean, for hardware, it's not something that like we know that well. I mean, we have invested in a couple hardware startups, but I mean, I do think it is challenging, especially to get the distribution and kind of developing the product and getting the good margins, just because there's probably much more capital involved in developing an actual physical product. So, so it's not something that we would probably do a lot of. Doesn't mean we won't, because we have, but it's just not something that we know that well. And we do know people who are investing a lot in hardware, especially in Asia. So,
and do you think, Ted or Alan, that Kickstarter is a threat to venture capitalists investing in this space, or an ally because it helps mitigate the risk?
I think it's great. I mean, they're exactly the kind of group that should look at things like this. I mean, it's pre-sale, right? Much more than investment. And to get that first version out, to get an idea of what the bill of materials is, to see what the market adoption would be. You just don't see that many device startups getting done, period. And the founders will get diluted so much in that first, 3 to 5 million that you have to raise. So I think, this is their market to lose. They should own this market.
Awesome. Okay, let's hear it for Sifteo. Thank you.